Hello, everyone. The question of irrationality is the one that comes from religious beliefs, not from scientific circles. Because science deals with the question of what is real. Religion is based on mythology. So therefore, you either have to believe whatever religion you try to follow, and all religions are incredible because they are not based on facts, they are based on make-believe stories out of some books, scriptures, they call them, or holy books. Well, there's no such thing as a holy book. Holy books is another term to make the Quran or the Bible into more than what they really are. They're just books. But the point I'm trying to make is this. Humans have evolved very recently. The cosmos, the entire universe, evolved over 40 billion years, roughly. 40 billion years of cosmic evolution. And in science, nothing happens just because of a coincidence. There is a basic understanding of causality, which can be deducted in some cases with a certain amount of understanding of scientific laws. And people who don't understand any of it try to ridicule the concept of the Big Bang. You have to start to kind of see reality in its entirety. When you try to do that, you can construct a concept of absolute reality, which no human will ever be able to grasp, because we only understand things from our own perspective. Now, most of us have a very personal view because of how we were brought up, what we learned, what we experienced in life, and so we are very subjective. The worst subjectivity comes from religious people because they want to impose on others their religion instead of asking themselves, what would it entail to be a realist, to be objective, to examine facts analytically, and to think more like a scientist. Well, that requires education. And religious education does not impart that kind of critical analysis. Because religion wants you to believe in all kinds of mystical things and irrational things, and miracles happened. Well, in reality, there are no such things as miracles. Okay? Something happens for a reason, and if you cannot see the reason, doesn't mean there is no reason. It's just that the reason may not be obvious. You may have to do some in-depth research, study the matter. Now, how can you study something if you don't understand even the basics? Well, what do you know about the Big Bang? Let's assume you don't know where you came from. Did you come out of nothing? Well, essentially, it is almost possible to assume that you came out of nothing. Before, your mother gave birth to you, you did not exist. And how could your mother give birth to you? Well, it had to be a sexual intercourse. it must have happened because you were the product of a fertilized egg in your mother's tummy. Well, not tummy. But anyways, the point is, if you use analogies, you will understand that if the whole cosmos were to be alive, and we could be looked upon as the inhabitants of Earth, make the analogy that we would be the ones that are alive and populating a hydrogen electron. That hydrogen electron that goes around the nucleus of a hydrogen atom. Well, do you think that if we were in that kind of a microcosm, this kind of microcosmos has no relationship and no opportunity ever to discover what's outside that reality, frame of reference? Do you think that we would ever know that we are inside maybe a glass of water and somebody is holding that glass of water and is about to drink it? And maybe that particular drop of water that we are part of as a hydrogen atom has us human beings in some in the parallel, as an analogy, living on that electron, and we're going through that human digestive system. Do you think that we would ever know that this was happening to us? Now, can you imagine that the cosmos actually is part of a living thing that's so much bigger than you cannot relate to it? Well, maybe if it is a living thing that was created by other living things mating, and when they had an orgasm, that was the Big Bang. Can you relate to that? So where does a God fit in here? And your silly Quran and all those other silly religious books. You have to understand that religion cannot answer things that you're not prepared to logically and scientifically or objectively examine critically. If you're not prepared to do that, you can call anything irrational. But that doesn't make it irrational. That makes you irrational. And the fact remains that most religions, all religions, are more irrational than scientific facts will ever be. So don't knock the scientists. Try to get an education. Find out what happened during those 40 billion years that our universe evolved since the Big Bang. And maybe you will understand it. And maybe you'll be free to examine other things and give up your religious dependence on whatever God you think you have to have in order to be happy. But as humanity evolves and we become more and more aware that nature does not have a God and no gods exist in the real world, maybe you'll be able to put aside all this religious gobbledygook and become an enlightened person, an educated person, instead of spreading ignorance and perpetuating myth. So what's the point of perpetuating mythology when you could be spreading knowledge and insight, wisdom, and education? Try that for a change. That's all I have to say for now. I hope you get my point. All right? Thanks for listening.